Welcome to the heart of the matter. Today we're talking about a subject so dear to so many people's hearts, the subject of exam malpractices. And with me as our guest is Mr. Uju Onyechere. He is the Director of Public Affairs of an NGO which is called Exam Ethics Marshals International. You're very welcome to the program, Uju. Exam malpractice is something that Nigerians are very concerned about. And obviously, it is your concern that has brought you into it. Tell us how you got into this subject of exam malpractices.
It actually started as a personal experience. Okay. See, when our chairman, when he is a consultant, and it happened that sometime in doing his official work, one of his employees didn't come to work, and on investigation, it was discovered that the young man had an excuse to go check his mother who is ill. But on investigation, it was discovered that he actually went to write an exam for someone. And so he didn't take it so well. And so he began to investigate. That coupled with other things, he began to investigate and did some research and discovered that, look, there's a problem in the society. And so he rallied around as a consultant, began to organize seminars, conferences, bringing his stakeholders together to look at the problem, of course, provide a solution to it. And the critical thing that was done then was to let the masses, let the society know that there is a big problem in our hand. And it wasn't a pleasant experience because by the time this program started rolling and we began to hear stories from all over the country, it's called that, look, it has gone beyond viral. The virus is something that one cannot explain.
Okay, we're going to ask you some of those stories, okay, but that's what brought you in,
yeah, sure,
to exam malpractice. Tell us, what exactly is exam malpractice? A lot of our viewers don't know. Okay.
Exam malpractice is an omission or commission when the result of an examination is in question.
But by and large, the greatest exam malpractice takes place in the educational institutions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now, could you tell me what are the sort of things? You mentioned one, that they get people to sit the exam for them. That's one way of. What are other ways that people are cheating the system? Okay,
there are various ways. We've actually discovered about 33 ways people cheat, but I'm going to mention some of them. One, of course, in schools, there's what they call microchips, when students write either in codes, okay, in a very small paper. They call it microchips. They normally go into the exam halls with microchips. Some of them tear either handouts as textbooks. These days, ICT has helped them a lot. Some of them go into the exam halls with their phones. Some of them go with even iPads. So that these things are.
Can a student carry an iPad into an exam hall without being seen?
No, if you're talking about being seen, I mean, we're talking about the syndicate here.
Okay.
It's a question of paying your way. Do you understand? Yeah. There are a lot of things you take into the exam hall. You begin to wonder, how did they take it? But somebody somewhere is looking the other way. Okay. And so these things are being moved in. And so these are some of the ways. There are a lot of the involvement is so good that you begin to wonder. Some of them are some of the candidates we're talking about are young people.
Yes.
But then it's called that these young people are not actually the architects of what we're talking about. It has to do with the wider society. It has to do with parents getting involved. It has to do with education bodies getting involved. It has to do with examiners, invigilators. It's huge. Okay. It's huge.
Okay, so we've got an immense problem here.
Yes.
I understand that Nigeria is #1 in exam malpractice. That's a very bad reputation. But it's also a huge money-making industry.
It's a big business.
I see from some of the facts you've given us that over the last 15 years, 375 billion naira has come into this industry.
Sure, that is why you hear things like special centers where people pay different kinds of money, 40, 50, 70, 100,000, depending on what you want. Your money determines what you're going to get. Is it that you want to stay in a special room and write your exam without being disturbed, or you want somebody to sit somewhere and write your exam? What you want determines how much you pay. And then you can imagine if for every exam, you know, there are a couple of exams in a year. You can imagine in any exam and in a special center, you have maybe 500, 1,000 people paying 50,000 for one particular exam, just for one center. I'm talking about centers all over the nation. So it's a huge business, and that's why those who are involved are ready to fight back, and they fight with everything they've got.
I understand that the lives of marshals have been threatened. Not just
threatened. Cars have been burnt, houses have been burnt. Some of us have been poured acid. Some of us have been kidnapped for days. These young men, these people, see, this syndicate is fighting back. So if you just threatened, oh, well and good, but they've gone beyond that, because here you are trying to put them out of business, and they wouldn't want to take it.
Okay, what is the answer?
The answer is we have to go back to the homes. We have to look at our value system. Okay. Now, the essence of the marshals is a marshal is not just somebody who is a stakeholder in education. A marshal is anybody in society. We have pastors, we have imams, we have bankers, lawyers, military men, doctors. We have everybody, because everybody comes from a home. And we're saying it's a personal fight. Why is it a personal fight? If you think it doesn't bother you, it doesn't concern you, somehow it concerns you. Let me give you a scenario. You're in Lagos and you think exam malpractice, so in your environment, in your community, it doesn't matter. But you're coming from somewhere, maybe a village. And so imagine when somebody who went through malpractice becomes a doctor, and then in your community or in your village goes to give an injection and goes about it wrongly, and the person, God forbid, is a loved one. If the person's life is affected, you're indirectly affected. And so it's not a personal thing. If you think it doesn't, exam malpractice doesn't bother you, we hear about collapsed building on a daily basis. Now, those buildings, there are builders, there are surveyors, there are engineers, all of them pass through the educational system. So how come these buildings have collapsed? Because somebody somewhere is not doing his job properly. So it affects every one of us. So we now call on stakeholders. Everybody should be involved. That's what Marshall is all about. Everybody, just try and create the awareness in your immediate community. Let people know what exam malpractice is all about. Let them know the solutions you can provide to it, because it's all about, actually, when people get involved in exam malpractice, they are cheating themselves, because you're not using your God-given talents. Yes. So marshals, we bring them in, we train them, we let them know the things they're supposed to do and the things they're not supposed to do. And so they go out there in the masses, in their various homes, jobs, offices, to let people know what the problem is all about, and then the solution to it. So actually, the critical thing is going to homes, looking at our value system, because parents are involved big time in examination malpractice. So parents actually, to a large degree, sponsor. Yeah, they do. Their children. Yeah, because these children are not the ones providing this money. If the child pays 50,000 to a special center or pays 100,000, he doesn't earn any money. The money comes from the parents. And so if the parents will be able to look inward, if they will be able to do the things they're supposed to do and stop providing such money, see, parents, it's just a question of pride. You want to answer the mother of a lawyer, you want to answer the mother of a doctor, and you insist your child must do a particular course. So, for God's sake, those days are gone. Okay, Uju, we're going to take a short break now. We'll be back in a minute, so viewers, stay tuned to the heart of the matter.
But personally, I don't think it's the right thing to do. If you study hard, when you get there, just do your best and leave the rest. I don't think it's something that is really supposed to be done. It's not supposed to be done, really. The cause of exam malpractice is failure to study and the fear of failing, exactly. They are scared of failing, and at the same time they don't want to study. They are carried away by activities around the campus and everything. They should create time to study. They can still do those things and still study their books. So they can manage their time properly. They'll be able to study and both do other things, combine them properly.
Exam malpractice is something that's been going on even before I gained admission into this school. So I feel it's bad. At times when doing exams, like if you don't really know anything, they can just like pass papers to each other. They call that just normal helping, but it's bad. They just pass papers to each other. Some will come into the exam hall with already programs, they are written it on their arms, on their legs and all that. I come to the exam hall like that. I feel lecturers should work hard in the sense that there's some lecturers that are they don't really cover the course outline before we enter the exam, before we start the exam. So students feel they're not well prepared. That's why they do all those exam malpractice. So I think lecturers should work hand in hand. They should teach us more, should educate us more. I think exam malpractice will be eradicated.
Some people, when they are stranded, they put the book under the chair and copy, or elongate their necks and look at their neighbors, or they write it on their laps. Different styles, yeah.
Or they write the points on a piece of paper. Some girls stuck it in their bra, boys in their thighs, and other stuff like that.
And the people tend to exchange their answer sheets in the examination hall, or they throw maybe phones and pass things in the examination because they don't want to fail.
Because they are lazy.
Same, I think they don't want to fail.
Maybe some questions are just scary, so they need other people's opinion to lift them up.
I feel because they are lazy. No matter what, if you've read, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know most of it. But some people, I don't know, they are just laziness.
Encourage people to read more, and the security in the examination should be tight. So they won't be able to even move their neck. Everybody concentrate on their work. Or the spacing between a student and another should be a little bit.
Yes, I agree with that too. They should just encourage the students to read more. The students should love what they are doing. They should know what they are doing. They should be willing to study more. That's the only surest way to eradicate.
Well, examination malpractice exists in different forms. You see situation whereby people comes into examination hall with microchips. People go as far as having stores on their mobile phone and things like that. Well, in electronic means and in different forms. So you can be sure that examination malpractice exists. People tend to put up with lazy attitude. You see, when you don't prepare for an exam and you want to pass at all costs, that is why people go into examination malpractice. You see, another thing is because of the fear of failure. I've just talked about laziness, and fear of failure also is a factor contributing to examination malpractice.
Examination malpractice is not a problem of today. It has existed looking at the recent past in Nigerian history, and it's no longer seen as an evil, so to say, or a corrupt practice. You see students coming in with make-up answers into the examination halls, despite the penalties that have been, put in place by the school authorities. There's no fear again for that. I think what I would say is that students don't have the reading culture to sit down and study. Because if a student sits down and study his or her book, what's the reason for carrying a microchip or a macrochip into the examination hall? In the days of our fathers, it wasn't like that. People simply sit down, study very hard, and go to the examination, face it as it is, and come out honorably.
Welcome back to the heart of the matter, where we're talking about exam malpractices in Nigeria, and with me is my guest, Mr. Uju Onyechere. He is the Director of Exam Ethics Marshals Nigeria. And just before we went on break, we were talking about how marshals, ethics marshals go to people's homes. Now, what role do marshals play at the institutions themselves during exam time? Is there a role that marshals can play?
Yeah, sure. First of all, for a marshal to go to an exam hall, you wear a vest written exam marshal. That alone puts fear. As soon as in some schools where we've gone, the sight of exam marshals alone puts people on check. If in the course of supervising and they discover that, look, somebody is cheating, what they need to do is hand over the person to security operatives. That's where our job is done. So, but in most cases, we have once in a while we've followed up with such cases, depending on how peculiar the case is. We could follow up with security agencies to know how far the matter is being taken. But ours is just to point out to the entire masses, to point out to security operatives that something wrong is happening here, and then it's not left for them to take it up from there.
Now, if you go into an institution and it just happens to be a special center,
Yes.
and so everybody is working in the syndicate, what would the marshal do?
The marshal will raise an alarm.
Okay.
You raise an alarm. You raise an alarm. In most cases, we get accreditation anyway. So you raise an alarm. When I mean raising an alarm, you try to either make calls, assuming there are no security operatives there. You try to make calls. You try to contact with other fellow marshals, depending on where they are, so that the security operatives could come. It has been done before, which was widely seen on the tele when people were caught in a particular room, and in fact, then the JAMB registrar was also involved, and he was involved in that particular one, saw it live, and then they were handed over to the security operatives.
Now, exam ethics marshals have been in operation for about how long?
We started in 1996.
Okay, so that's over a decade.
Yeah, sure.
And in that time, we're still seeing the numbers going up. In May, June this year, at the school certificate exam, 615,000 cases were recorded of exam malpractice, while it was 439,000 same time last year. So it's going up in spite of all your efforts. So obviously there's more that can be done. What else do you think can be done?
That's why we are raising marshals, so that everybody will be involved in trying to provide a solution. But the truth of the matter is, beyond that, we need to look at our value system. The value system has gone down.
We need to get more people becoming marshals, and any viewer that wants to become a marshal can contact you,
yeah, sure,
and is able to become a marshal. And then we've got to get the value system changed. How do you think we can go about addressing the value system? What are the methods that you would do?
First, talking to parents. We've tried to get programs where we talk to parents. Some of them who will not go through this program, we've tried to. We're involved in publications. We actually have a book that is strictly talking to parents what to do, what not to do. We also have CDs, DVDs, and now we want to. Of recent, we are getting involved with some Hollywood actors and actresses to put a picture behind what we're talking about. That way it could be able to sync, because of course a lot of young people watch movies, and so we also want to put these role models behind the picture, so that they will be able, the students and the youth will be able to see the consequences, and then of course the benefits, because the damage is huge. But the truth of the matter is, beyond that, there is also the good aspect of what we are doing. What we need to do is, what we are doing is to show, okay, if you don't do this, you could benefit from this. If you don't get involved in exam malpractice, you can actually be who God designed you to be.
Do you see an end to this problem in the immediate future?
In the immediate future, no. But what we are talking about is huge. But what we've been able to do is to raise the attention of everybody, including stakeholders, that look at there's a big problem. The problem of exam malpractice in Nigeria is more dangerous than HIV. And because, like I've said before, the problems we are having in larger society all came as a result of exam malpractice. Bad bridges, bad buildings, wrong medical attention, everything came as a result of those who did not go through a proper training. And so at the end of the day, because if you start by exam malpractice and you're able to leave school, you discover that every other thing you're looking for, every other thing you want to do, you want to go through the shortcuts because you have been trained to do that. But I believe that will be a light at the end of the tunnel if all of us come together, right. If all of us put our hands together, if all the marshals actually do the things they are supposed to do. We want to, by the end of 2014, raise about 1 million marshals. Okay. And we believe that if we have 1 million marshals, we should be able to go in there in the homes, we should be able to go in there in schools, we can go into offices and then educate everybody. Because at times it beats my imagination. At times it beats my imagination that some people will say, oh, we've not heard. So what we want to do, we want everybody to hear, we want everybody to know the problem, we want everybody to know there is a solution, and so that you know the role you're supposed to play as an individual. And then, of course, the issue of corruption. Now, when you hear corruption on a daily basis, what message are you sending out there? So it's, the effect is so much, but what we want to do is, we want to also begin to celebrate those who are doing the right thing. It's not always negative reports, it's not always the things that are not being done. One of the things we want to start doing is, there are few in these exam bodies, there are few in institutions, there are few everywhere who are actually doing the correct thing. We want to showcase them. We want the children to see them, we want the children to know that, look, these people are doing the right thing, and you need to be celebrated when you're doing the right thing. Maybe that way, the attention or the focus will shift a little bit from the negative report to the positive side of the report. That way, probably there could be effects around the society, but then all hands need to be on deck. All hands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Viewers, we need to kill this cancer of exam malpractice because it's killing our nation. And so there's much that you can do. Even if you don't become a marshal, and I think if you have the time, join. But even if you don't become a marshal, you can talk about it. You can tell your neighbors, your friends, why it is wrong for anybody to achieve anything through shortcuts without actually learning. We're really happy you were able to come to be with us on the Heart of the Matter, and we look forward to seeing you again, and count me in. If I can be a marshal, I want to be a marshal.
Oh, great. Great.
God bless you. Viewers, will be back again same time next week. So see you then. God bless.
It's a pitiable, situation where students don't read again. They're just loitering about. You can see them. We are about 3 weeks to exams. You can't see seriousness in the atmosphere. They're just gallivanting and all the rest of them.
I think it's because most of students of nowadays, they don't have the reading culture.
I feel everyone has been brought up with the thought that, with the concept that exam malpractice is wrong morally. But sometimes students feel their exam malpractice is excusable because they find themselves in situations whereby they are forced, they feel they are compelled to get themselves involved in exam malpractice because nobody wants to fail.
There's not much supervision on the lecturers, so they can do anything. They cannot come, they cannot teach well, they may not be able to give lecture notes to the students, some of that in child.
Yeah, after reading, some students have this inferiority complex, which they don't think what they've read is what is going to come out. So they actually prepare for the unseen.
There should be serious measures put in place to checkmate examination malpractice.